Behind the laughs and Heeyyy greetings of this beloved UPN sitcom lies a treasure trove of bizarre secrets that even the most devoted fans never discovered. From mysterious character disappearances and shocking cast replacements to impossible college timelines and surprising celebrity connections, the Parkers harbored some of television's strangest behind-the-scenes mysteries that will completely change how you watch this classic show. Fact 1. The impossible college timeline. If you ever wondered how Kim Parker and her friends managed to stay at Santa Monica College for the entire 5-season run of the Parkers from 1999 to 2004, you've stumbled upon one of television's most glaring educational impossibilities. The show's entire premise was built around characters attending a real community college that, in reality, could never accommodate their extended academic journey. Santa Monica College is an actual 2-year community college located in Santa Monica, California, where students typically earn associate degrees or transfer credits before moving on to 4-year universities. However, throughout all 110 episodes of The Parkers, Kim, Nikki, Stevie, and T remained enrolled as students at this same institution for 5 full years, without ever graduating or transferring elsewhere. This timeline creates a bizarre academic paradox that the show's writers seemingly ignored entirely. In the real world, even students who struggle academically or change majors multiple times would eventually either complete their 2-year program, transfer to a 4-year university, or be academically dismissed. The characters on The Parkers somehow managed to remain perpetual students at an institution designed for short-term enrollment. What makes this even more peculiar is that the show occasionally referenced real aspects of community college life, including transfer opportunities and academic requirements, yet never addressed why these characters remained at Santa Monica College indefinitely. The writers appeared to prioritize maintaining the college setting for comedic purposes over creating a realistic educational timeline. This impossible scenario becomes even more noticeable when you consider that other characters, like Professor Ogilvy, maintain their positions throughout the series as well, suggesting that the entire academic environment existed in a sort of temporal bubble where time moved forward, but academic progress remained frozen. The show's creators likely chose to ignore this educational reality to keep the cast together in a familiar setting, but it resulted in one of the most unrealistic academic situations ever portrayed on television, where a 2-year college somehow provided 5 years of endless enrollment possibilities. Fact 2. The mysterious Mari Morrow vanishing act. One of the most abrupt character disappearances in sitcom history occurred during the first season of The Parkers, when Mari Morrow, who played Nikki's glamorous neighbor and best friend Desiree Littlejohn, vanished from the show after appearing in only 13 episodes. What makes this departure particularly strange is that Morrow was initially credited as a main cast member. Yet she simply disappeared without any on-screen explanation or farewell episode. Desiree was introduced as Nikki Parker's sophisticated friend and neighbor, who provided a contrast to Nikki's boisterous personality. But behind the scenes, producers were apparently unsatisfied with the dynamic between the two characters. According to insider reports, the show's creator Ralph Farquhar made the decision to write out Morrow's character because he wanted what he described as better chemistry between Nikki and her best friend, specifically seeking an actress who could match Monique's larger-than-life presence. The producers felt that they needed a heavier actress to portray Nikki's best friend, believing that this would create more believable and comedic interactions with Monique's character. This led them to approach Yvette Wilson, who had already established herself as Andell Wilkerson on the parent show Moesha, where she owned and operated a local hangout spot that served as a central gathering place for the teenage characters. Wilson's transition from Moesha to the Parkers was seamless, since her character Andell was already established in the same television universe. But the sudden replacement left viewers confused about what happened to Desiree. The character was never mentioned again after her disappearance, as if she had never existed in the first place. Mari Morrow, who had previously appeared in shows like Baywatch and Family Matters, continued her acting career after leaving the Parkers and eventually became a licensed real estate agent in Los Angeles, while maintaining her entertainment industry work. Meanwhile, Yvette Wilson Zandel became such an integral part of the Parkers that it's difficult to imagine the show without her, proving that sometimes behind-the-scenes casting changes can ultimately benefit a series, even when they happen in mysterious circumstances. Fact 3. Shannon Tweed's surprising casting choice. In one of the most unexpected casting decisions in the Parkers' history, the producers chose Shannon Tweed to play Sophia Van Lowe, the wealthy and emotionally distant mother of Stevie, Kim's best friend. This casting choice was particularly surprising because Tweed was primarily known for her work as a former Playboy playmate and her extensive career starring in soft-core erotic films throughout the 1980s and 1990s. Shannon Tweed had been Playboy's Playmate of the Year in 1982 and went on to become one of the most recognizable faces in late-night cable television through her starring roles in numerous erotic thrillers and romantic dramas. Her filmography included titles that were typically shown on premium cable channels during late-night hours, making her an unlikely choice for a family-friendly UPN sitcom that aired during prime time. The character of Sophia Van Lowe was written as a sophisticated, cold, and neglectful mother who came from significant wealth but had little emotional connection with her daughter Stevie. This role required Tweed to portray a dramatic character dealing with complex family dynamics, which was a considerable departure from the more sensual and romantic roles that had defined her career up to that point. What made this casting even more intriguing was how well Tweed adapted to the sitcom format and the specific tone of the Parkers. She convincingly portrayed the upper-class mother whose emotional unavailability created tension and comedy in her scenes, with Jenna Von Ochie's character Stevie. The show explored themes of parental neglect and class differences through their relationship, with Sophia representing the kind of wealthy parent who provided material comfort but lacked genuine maternal warmth. Tweed's performance demonstrated her range as an actress beyond her previous work, showing that she could handle both dramatic moments and comedic timing within the context of a sitcom. Her appearances on The Parkers helped showcase a different side of her acting abilities, proving that actors can successfully transition between vastly different genres and audience expectations when given the right opportunity and material to work with. Fact 4. The Isabel Sanford grandmother connection. Television history collided in one of the Parkers' most memorable and uncomfortable guest appearances, when Isabel Sanford appeared as Nikki's recently widowed grandmother, Evelyn Nana Smith. What made this guest spot particularly bizarre was that Sanford's character became romantically fixated on Professor Ogilvy, creating one of the series' most awkward intergenerational romantic subplots. Isabel Sanford had earned television immortality as the strong-willed Louise Jefferson, the wife of George Jefferson, on both All in the Family and The Jeffersons, which ran from 1975 to 1985. She was the first African-American actress to win an Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy Series, making her a true pioneer in television history. By the time she appeared on The Parkers in the early 2000s, Sanford was in her 80s, and considered a living legend of black television. The episode featuring Sanford's character showed Nana Smith visiting her granddaughter Nikki, but instead of focusing on family bonding, the elderly woman became completely smitten with the much younger Professor Ogilvy. The storyline had Nana shamelessly flirting with the professor, making inappropriate advances, and generally creating uncomfortable situations that left both Ogilvy and viewers unsure whether to laugh or cringe. What made this subplot even more surreal was watching the dignified actress who had portrayed the respectable Louise Jefferson for over a decade suddenly playing a character who was aggressively pursuing a man decades younger than herself. The role required Sanford to deliver lines and perform actions that were completely opposite to the maternal, wise character that had made her famous. The episode played up the generational differences and created comedy through the awkwardness of an elderly woman refusing to take no for an answer from a younger man. But it also showcased Sanford's willingness to step outside her comfort zone and take on a completely different type of character role, even at this stage of her distinguished career. Fact 5. Nancy Wilson's secret family revelation. One of the Parkers' most emotionally charged storylines involved a shocking family secret that was revealed through the guest appearance of legendary jazz vocalist Nancy Wilson, who played a character initially introduced as Nicky's beloved Aunt Rita. What started as a typical family visit turned into one of the series' most dramatic moments when it was revealed that Aunt Rita was actually Nicky's biological mother, who had given her up years earlier to pursue her music career. Nancy Wilson was a genuine music industry icon who had been performing professionally since the 1950s and was known for her sophisticated jazz and pop vocals that earned her multiple Grammy Awards and widespread critical acclaim. Her appearance on The Parkers represented a rare television acting role for the accomplished singer, who was primarily known for her recording career and live performances rather than dramatic acting. The storyline unfolded when Aunt Rita came to visit Nicky, appearing to be the fun-loving, worldly relative who had always been a favorite in the family. However, the episode took a dramatic turn when it was revealed that Rita was not actually Nicky's aunt, but her birth mother, and that the people Nicky had always believed were her parents were actually her aunt and uncle who had raised her as their own child. The revelation explained that Rita had been unable to raise Nicky herself because she was a traveling jazz singer, whose career demanded constant touring and an unstable lifestyle that would not have been suitable for raising a child. This backstory gave Rita's character depth and provided context for why she had made the difficult decision to let her sister and brother-in-law raise Nicky in a more stable environment. The episode dealt with themes of sacrifice, family secrets, and the complex choices that parents sometimes have to make between their personal dreams and their responsibilities to their children. Wilson's performance brought genuine emotion to the role, drawing on her real-life experience as a professional musician who understood the demands of a career that required extensive travel and irregular schedules. Fact 6. The Blossom Connection through Jenna Von Odine. When Jenna Von Odine joined the Parkers as Stevie Van Lowe, Kim's sarcastic and intelligent best friend, viewers were witnessing a remarkable transformation of one of the 1990s most memorable child stars returning to television in a completely different role. Von Odine had previously spent 5 seasons playing Six Lemure on the NBC sitcom Blossom, which ran from 1990 to 1995, making her casting on The Parkers an unexpected reunion with television audiences who had watched her grow up on screen. On Blossom, Von Odine played the fast-talking, precocious best friend of Mayim Bialik's title character, a role that showcased her ability to deliver rapid-fire dialogue and witty one-liners with perfect timing. Six Lemure was known for her Valley Girl speech patterns, her obsession with boys and fashion, and her loyalty to Blossom despite their different personalities and interests. The transition from Six to Stevie represented a complete character makeover for Von Odine, who went from playing a somewhat ditzy teenager obsessed with popularity to portraying a sharp-tongued college student from a wealthy family who often served as the voice of reason among her friends. Stevie Van Lowe was written as an intelligent, cynical character who came from privilege but had a complicated relationship with her emotionally distant mother, which was a dramatic departure from the more light-hearted Six character. What made this casting particularly interesting was how Von Odine's acting style evolved between the two shows, while still maintaining the quick wit and comedic timing that had made her memorable on Blossom. Stevie's character allowed Von Odine to showcase more dramatic range, especially in episodes that dealt with her strained family relationships and her struggles with feeling neglected by her wealthy parents. The fact that Von Odine successfully transitioned from a beloved 1990s sitcom character to a completely different role on The Parkers demonstrated her growth as an actress and her ability to reinvent herself for a new generation of viewers. Many fans of Blossom were surprised to discover Six Lemur in this new incarnation, creating an unexpected bridge between two distinct eras of television comedy. Fact 7. The Cross-Universe TV Connection Discovery. In recent years, dedicated fans have made a fascinating discovery that reveals the Parkers exists within the same television universe as three other popular black sitcoms, Moesha, Girlfriends, and The Game, creating an interconnected web of shows that spanned over 2 decades of television programming. These connections were so subtle that many viewers never noticed them during the original broadcasts. But careful analysis of crossover episodes and character relationships has revealed an intricate shared universe. The most obvious connection begins with the Parkers being a direct spin-off of Moesha, featuring Kim Parker, who had been a recurring character on the original series. However, the universe expands beyond this basic relationship through carefully planted crossover episodes and character appearances that link all 4 shows together in unexpected ways. The connection between these series becomes more complex when examining Girlfriends, which aired from 2000 to 2008, and its own spin-off The Game, which premiered in 2006. Fans discovered that during the last season of Moesha and the first season of Girlfriends, there was a crossover episode where Maya from Girlfriends was shown babysitting Dorian's siblings, establishing that both shows existed in the same world. This connection becomes even more intricate when you consider that The Game features characters who are related to people from Girlfriends, specifically revealing that Melanie Barnett from The Game and Joan Clayton from Girlfriends are actually cousins. These family relationships create a chain of connections that links all 4 shows through both direct spin-offs and subtle character relationships. The shared universe also includes background references and occasional character mentions that reinforce these connections across different series and time periods. Characters from Moesha occasionally appeared on The Parkers, while references to events and people from the other shows would surface in dialogue throughout the various series. What makes this discovery particularly remarkable is that these connections were maintained across different networks and production companies, with creators Ralph Farquhar and Mara Brock-Akil working together to preserve continuity even as the shows moved between UPN, the CW, and BET over the years, creating one of television's most extensive shared universes. Fact 8. The unresolved Moesha cliffhanger betrayal. One of television's most notorious broken promises occurred when the Parkers completely failed to resolve the shocking cliffhanger that ended Moesha's 6-season run in 2001, despite UPN executives and Entertainment Weekly specifically reporting that the spin-off series would address the mystery that left millions of viewers hanging. The original series concluded with a devastating 2-part finale that revealed someone in Moesha's family was pregnant. But the identity of the expectant person was never revealed before the show was abruptly canceled. Moesha's final episodes delivered multiple bombshells that were designed to set up a 7th season that never materialized due to declining ratings and the network's decision to focus on other programming. The pregnancy revelation was particularly shocking because it could have involved several different characters, including Moesha herself, her younger brother Miles, or other family members, creating a mystery that fans desperately wanted solved. When UPN announced that the Parkers would continue in the same universe with many of the same characters and creators, network executives publicly stated that the new show would provide closure for Moesha's unresolved storylines. Entertainment Weekly and other entertainment publications reported these promises, giving fans hope that they would finally learn the truth about the pregnancy cliffhanger and other loose plot threads. However, despite running for 5 full seasons and 110 episodes from 1999 to 2004, the Parkers never once addressed the Moesha cliffhanger or provided any resolution to the pregnancy mystery. The show occasionally featured characters from the original series, including Hakeem Campbell, who appeared in Season 4, which seemed like the perfect opportunity to reveal what had happened to the Mitchell family. But these appearances focused on completely different storylines. The abandonment of this promise became even more frustrating for fans, because the Parkers existed in the same television universe and featured characters who would have known about the Mitchell family's situation. The show's creators apparently decided that the Parkers worked better as a straight comedy, rather than addressing the more dramatic elements that had defined Moesha's later seasons, leaving one of UPN's biggest mysteries permanently unsolved and disappointing countless viewers who had been promised closure. Fact 9. The real-life studio music legend connection. The sets of Santa Monica College and the Parker family apartment were actually built inside Sunset Gower Studios in Hollywood, a legendary facility that had hosted some of the most iconic musicians in rock and roll history, long before Nicky and Kim Parker ever stepped foot on the soundstages. This historic studio complex had served as rehearsal space and recording location for music legends, including Led Zeppelin, Fleetwood Mac, the Eagles, Frank Zappa, Elton John, and Ringo Starr, making the Parkers an unlikely successor to decades of musical history. Sunset Gower Studios originally opened in 1915 and was founded by Harry Cohn, who later became the head of Columbia Pictures, establishing the facility as one of Hollywood's most enduring production centers. Throughout the 1970s and 80s, the studio became a popular destination for major recording artists who needed large spaces for rehearsals and recordings, particularly for bands preparing for major tours or working on complex album productions. The same soundstages where Monique delivered her comedic monologues and Countess Vaughn performed with the fictional band Freestyle Unity had previously echoed with the sounds of Led Zeppelin working out arrangements for legendary concerts, Fleetwood Mac rehearsing the songs that would become some of their biggest hits, and Frank Zappa conducting his elaborate musical experiments with his various ensembles. The irony of this location becomes even more interesting when you consider that the Parkers frequently featured musical performances and storylines about the characters' dreams of making it in the entertainment industry. The fictional Freestyle Unity was performing their songs in the same spaces where real music history had been made by some of the most successful and influential artists of all time. By the time the Parkers began filming in 1999, Sunset Gower Studios had established itself as Hollywood's largest independent studio facility, with 12 soundstages that could accommodate both television production and music rehearsals. The studio's versatility and rich history made it an ideal location for a show that blended comedy with musical elements, even though the cast and crew were likely unaware they were walking in the footsteps of rock and roll royalty every day during production. Fact 10. Countess Vaughn's hidden pregnancy storyline. Behind the scenes of the Parkers, Countess Vaughn faced difficult personal decisions that directly affected the show's production and her character's presence on screen, including being written out of several early Season 5 episodes due to her real-life pregnancy and making a heartbreaking choice during the first season that she later revealed publicly. These personal struggles remained hidden from viewers for years until Vaughn opened up about her experiences during her appearance on the reality show Hollywood Divas. During the filming of Season 5, which aired in 2003 and 2004, Vaughn discovered she was pregnant and had to miss several episodes while dealing with her pregnancy and the complications that arose from it. The show's writers were forced to create storylines that explained Kim Parker's absence from certain episodes, often having other characters mention that she was away or busy with other activities while Vaughn recovered and prepared for motherhood. Even more revealing was Vaughn's admission years later that she had faced an unwanted pregnancy during the filming of the first season in 1999, when the show was just getting established, and her role as Kim Parker was crucial to its success. On Hollywood Divas, Vaughn courageously shared that she made the difficult decision to have an abortion because she feared that being pregnant would cost her the starring role that had become central to her career and financial stability. This revelation highlighted the intense pressure that young actresses face in the entertainment industry, particularly when unexpected life events threaten to interfere with major career opportunities. Vaughn explained that she felt she had no choice but to prioritize her professional obligations over her personal situation, especially since the Parkers represented her biggest break as a leading actress after years of supporting roles. Vaughn's openness about these experiences provided insight into the challenges that female performers face when trying to balance their personal lives with the demands of television production schedules. Her willingness to discuss these private matters publicly helped shed light on the difficult decisions that actresses sometimes have to make behind the scenes, even while maintaining their professional obligations and keeping their personal struggles hidden from both audiences and industry colleagues. Fact 11. The signature Heeyyy cultural phenomenon. The Parkers created one of the most memorable and widely imitated greetings in television history, with their distinctive "Hey" that became so popular it actually influenced how real people greeted each other in the early 2000s, transforming a simple television catchphrase into a genuine cultural phenomenon that spread far beyond the show's original audience. This elongated, enthusiastic greeting became the signature way that characters on the show acknowledged each other, but its impact extended into real-world social interactions across the country. The Heeyyy greeting was characterized by its drawn-out pronunciation, rising intonation, and the unmistakable energy that the cast members brought to the delivery, making it sound both welcoming and slightly exaggerated in a way that perfectly captured the show's comedic tone. Monique, Countess Vaughn, and the rest of the cast delivered this greeting with such consistency and enthusiasm that it became instantly recognizable to anyone who watched the series regularly. What made this cultural impact particularly remarkable was how quickly the greeting spread from television screens into actual conversations, with viewers adopting the distinctive pronunciation and delivery style in their own daily interactions. Young people especially began using the "Heeyyy" greeting when they saw friends at school, work, or social gatherings, often mimicking the exact tone and energy they had heard on the Parkers. The phenomenon became so widespread that people who had never even watched the Parkers were encountering the greeting in their daily lives and unconsciously adopting it themselves, creating a ripple effect that carried the show's influence far beyond its viewership numbers. The greeting became particularly popular within African American communities, but it crossed cultural and demographic lines as people from various backgrounds began incorporating it into their vocabulary. This linguistic influence demonstrated the power of television to shape real-world communication patterns, with a simple greeting from a UPN sitcom becoming part of the broader cultural lexicon of the early 2000s. The Heeyyy phenomenon showed how memorable elements from popular television shows could transcend their original context and become genuine parts of how people interacted with each other in everyday situations, creating a lasting cultural legacy that outlived the show itself. Fact 12. The failed Monique reunion mystery. In 2009, Monique hosted a special full-length episode of her talk show dedicated to reuniting the Parkers cast. But the celebration was marred by the notable absence of Yvette Wilson, who had played the beloved character Andell Wilkerson throughout the series. At the time, the official explanation given for Wilson's absence was that she had a busy work schedule that prevented her from participating in the reunion, but this reason would later be revealed to hide a much more serious and heartbreaking situation. The reunion episode featured Countess Vaughn, Jenna Von Oheen, Ken Lawson, and Dorian Wilson, along with series creator Sarah V. Finney, who was part of the studio audience during the taping. The cast members reminisced about their time working together, shared behind-the-scenes stories, and discussed the impact that the Parkers had on their careers and on popular culture. But Wilson's empty chair served as a constant reminder that the reunion was incomplete. During the show, the cast and Monique briefly acknowledged Wilson's absence and mentioned her busy schedule, but the explanation felt somewhat hollow given how close the cast had been during the show's 5-year run, and how important Andel's character had been to the series' success. Wilson had appeared in 99 episodes of The Parkers and had been a central part of the show's dynamic, making her absence from the reunion particularly noticeable to fans who were hoping to see the entire cast together again. What made Wilson's absence even more tragic was that it was later revealed she was already battling cervical cancer and kidney disease at the time of the reunion, health issues that would ultimately claim her life in 2012 at the age of 48. The busy work schedule explanation was apparently used to protect Wilson's privacy during her illness and to avoid drawing attention to her declining health condition. The reunion episode, which was meant to be a joyful celebration of the show's legacy, instead became a bittersweet reminder of how health struggles can interfere with even the most meaningful professional relationships, and how sometimes the explanations given to the public don't tell the complete story about what's happening in people's private lives. Fact 13. The Freestyle Unity Musical Deception. The fictional musical group Freestyle Unity, composed of Kim Parker, Stevie Van Lowe, and T. Radcliffe, became so convincing and popular with viewers that many fans genuinely believed they were watching a real band rather than actors performing scripted songs, leading to widespread confusion about whether the group actually existed outside of the television show. The trio's performances were so well executed and their songs so catchy that audiences began treating them like legitimate recording artists rather than fictional characters. Freestyle Unity's most memorable song, "How Hard I'm Gonna Play You," became a genuine fan favorite that viewers would sing along with and quote in their daily lives, with many people expressing disappointment when they couldn't find the song available for purchase or download. The song featured lyrics like, "How hard I'm gonna play you, you won't even know what to do," delivered with such conviction by Countess Vaughn, Jenna Von Oti, and Ken Lawson that it felt like a real radio hit rather than a television prop. The group performed multiple songs throughout the series, including "Picture Me Just Falling," "Mama Killed Him," and several other original compositions that were written specifically for the show by professional songwriters and composers. These performances were integrated into episode storylines where the characters would rehearse, audition, or perform at various venues around Santa Monica College and the surrounding area, creating the illusion of a legitimate musical career. What made the deception so effective was the genuine musical talent of the actors involved, particularly Countess Vaughn, who had been a professional singer before her acting career, and brought real vocal ability to her performances. Ken Lawson's rap verses and Jenna Von Oine's harmonies added authenticity to the group's sound, making their performances feel like genuine musical collaborations rather than scripted television moments. Fans frequently expressed their desire for Freestyle Unity to release an actual album or soundtrack, with many taking to online forums and social media to ask where they could buy the group's music. The confusion became so widespread that some viewers were surprised to learn that the actors had other projects and weren't actually touring or recording as Freestyle Unity, demonstrating how effectively the show had created the illusion of a real musical group. Fact 14. The Coach Vines character recycling. In one of the most unusual casting decisions in television history, actor Dwight Woody appeared as two completely different characters within the same shared universe, playing Coach Vines on Moesha and then transforming into cafeteria worker Joe Woody on The Parkers, creating a bizarre situation where the same actor portrayed separate individuals who theoretically could have encountered each other. This character recycling was particularly strange because both shows existed in the same television universe and occasionally featured crossover episodes and character appearances. On Moesha, Woody played Coach Vines, an athletic instructor at Crenshaw High School who worked with the students in various sports and physical education activities throughout the series run from 1996 to 2001. Coach Vines was a recognizable figure at the school who interacted with Moesha and her classmates in typical high school settings, establishing him as part of the educational environment that defined much of the original show's storylines. When the Parkers premiered in 1999, Woody appeared in a completely different role as Joe Woody, a friendly cafeteria worker at Santa Monica College who served food to students and faculty in what the show called the Grub Hub. Joe Woody became a recurring character who would often engage in conversations with Nikki, Kim, and their friends during their meals, providing comic relief and serving as a familiar face in the college setting. The decision to cast the same actor in both roles created a continuity problem that the show's creators apparently chose to ignore rather than address directly. Since both Moesha and the Parkers took place in the same fictional universe, with characters occasionally crossing over between the two shows, it was theoretically possible for Coach Vines and Joe Woody to meet or for characters to recognize the similarity between them. This character recycling was particularly noticeable to viewers who watched both shows, as Woody's distinctive appearance and acting style made it impossible to mistake him for anyone else. The situation became even more confusing when other Moesha characters appeared on the Parkers, as they presumably would have recognized Joe Woody as their former high school coach. But this potential conflict was never acknowledged or explained within the storylines of either series. Fact 15. The European Broadcasting Time Shift Oddity. The Parkers experienced one of the most mysterious broadcasting situations in international television, when RTA2 in Ireland suddenly and inexplicably moved the show's final season episodes from their established 7 p.m. Thursday evening prime time slot to a late-night Friday time slot, creating confusion among Irish viewers who had been following the series regularly for 5 years. This scheduling change was never officially explained by the network, and even more puzzling is the fact that The Parkers has never been rerun on Irish television since the series concluded in 2005. From 2000 to 2005, Irish audiences had grown accustomed to watching The Parkers every Thursday at 7 p.m. on RTA2, a prime viewing time that indicated the show's popularity and the network's confidence in its ability to attract viewers during one of television's most competitive time periods. The consistent scheduling helped build a loyal Irish fanbase who made watching the Parker family's adventures a regular part of their weekly routine. However, when the fifth and final season began airing, RTA2 mysteriously relocated the remaining episodes to a much less desirable late-night Friday time slot, effectively burying the show during a time when most viewers would be out socializing or preparing for weekend activities rather than watching television at home. This dramatic scheduling change meant that many fans who had been following the series missed the conclusion of storylines they had been invested in for years. The network never provided any public explanation for why they moved the Parkers from prime time to the late-night graveyard slot, leading to speculation among viewers about whether there were content concerns, licensing issues, or simply a desire to make room for other programming during the more valuable Thursday evening hours. The lack of transparency from RTA2 made the situation even more frustrating for Irish fans who felt abandoned during the show's final episodes. Perhaps even stranger than the scheduling change is the complete absence of the Parkers from Irish television since 2005. Despite the show's previous popularity and the general trend of networks rerunning successful sitcoms to fill programming schedules, No Irish broadcaster has picked up the rights to air reruns of the series, making it virtually impossible for new audiences to discover the show or for original fans to revisit their favorite episodes.